Okay, so here I got the low reverse piston, the return spring, and the snap ring. This goes here on inside of our case. This is our filter. One of you guys asked me, well, where's the filter? Well, it's inside. So let's go ahead and install our filter here. Lube that thing up a little bit. Let's lube this part of the filter and this other part here. We'll install it there. And here, there's another filter seal that goes there, which is this one here. Let's go ahead and try to lubricate it, and I'm gonna see if I can get this thing installed here on camera. What I'm gonna use 2 hammers here just to try to make it easier. I can use a bushing driver, but I gotta go all the way across to get it. So here we go. All right, so there we go, all the way in. That's our filter. Filter is internal. It cannot be replaced on a regular fluid and filter change. Just make sure that every spring right before summer, just drain and fill your fluid. I would recommend that every 12 to 15,000 miles. That's what I recommend on the fluid and filter change. Let's go ahead and start assembling this thing. I'll go ahead and put that on and start assembling everything inside the barrel of the case. Alright then, so here's our low reverse piston already assembled with a return spring and a snap ring. Here we got our filter already installed, and we're going to go ahead and put our band in here. Here's our band. And now we drop our pump here. Now you can use the same pins. I'm just going to eyeball here the bolts, the bolt holes. Alright, let's install our bolts. So this is basically everything that goes behind, just the band and the pump. Then we're going to flip it over and install the rest of the parts. This is going to go fairly quick. This is where our servo go. We'll talk about that later. Here's our band. There's our pump. This is our pump drive shaft that will turn my pump gears. Just make sure that it turns freely. We'll install that last. Alright, so we are ready to install everything inside the barrel of the case. Okay, I'm looking for the best shot here. I think this is the best I could do. Okay, so we drop our assembly here first. Okay, it's all the way to the bottom. Followed by our sprag. Make sure it bottoms out. Well, no, this our turbine shaft goes first, and then our sprag. Okay, we're all the way down on top of the bearing. Front planet. Front planet ring gear. For our forward planet. Have sun gear show there. And then the other planet. Low reverse clutches and steels. We started with the steel first, then a friction, steel. This one takes 3 frictions. It's a 4-cylinder 2.0 liter engine. On the V6, like the Mazda Tributes and the Ford Escapes, takes 4 frictions. Now our wavy, our sprag assembly. This is our low reverse sprag assembly. We turn the our plant a little bit. There we go. Now our cover. Our snap ring. There we go. All right, now the chain, but I need to get the camera farther away so you can see what's going on here. Okay, I think we are far enough. Here we go. Now we install our spacer here and this bearing. Remember make sure that your magnet is clean. We'll drop this here. Don't forget to install this, because if you do, fluid is going to come out of the dipstick. Okay. Sometimes it could be a little bit tricky to install these pieces on there. I'm just going to show you how I do it. You know, there's probably different methods of doing this, but this is how I do it. So I get this chain here. This is a brand new chain. Get this here together. All right. So now I'm going to pick up both pieces like this. Like that. Kind of wiggle it on the over here on this side. You want that to fall inside the planet itself. It has to engage on the 3 gears for the planet. It's a little tricky, but it will go down there. Just make sure that your chain doesn't come out of position. Once it is engaged, then it'll fall off. There we go. There we have it. Put our chain cover here. It just latches in there. There we go. Install our differential. Okay. Our converter housing gasket. Just lube that thing up a little bit. Lube that up. Lube it up a little. Our bell housing. Okay, we're not forgetting anything, right? Are you sure we're not forgetting anything? You want to rewind the video for me and let me know if I'm forgetting something? I don't think I am, but here we go. This is a little tricky. You got to kind of spin the differential a little bit to let it engage on the ring gear. The ring gear, it's inside of the bell housing. There we go. Attaboy. Now our bolts. There we have it. Now I need to install all the bolts all the way around, and we'll go to the valve body next. All right, remember I asked you guys if we are forgetting something, and we are. This is a brain teaser I'm trying to do with you. I want you to watch my disassembly video. This is the rod that goes from the linkage to the parking mechanism. It goes in through here. And it latches down here. am latched. Watch my disassembly video, and I did this on purpose just to see if you guys were paying attention. Now let's install our little mechanism here and latch this thing on there too. There we go. Now we're latched. Alright, the good thing I didn't put no bolts on it, and this was intentional. That's why I'm saying just pay attention, and if you're going to disassemble any type of unit, no matter what it is, if you have a video camera, record yourself and watch it a couple of times, and then you go back assembling everything. Alright, well I'm going to go ahead and put the bell housing back on, and we'll continue with our valve body. Okay, so let's talk about our servos now. This is our original servo. We only needed the piston, but they don't sell it like that. They sell the whole assembly. And this is the cover. The servo cover actually comes in the kit. Now this having a shift kit, it had a spacer here and then the snap ring, and that's the way we want to put it back together. Now these are different. Is the way they are made. If we see this servo here, this one has no ID grooves. It's just straight up, smooth. The tip is smooth. And then we have a 1 groove servo here. You can see 1 groove. And then we have a 2 groove. So you just want to whenever you purchase one of these, you want to make sure that you just ID them correctly. So we pick up our old servo assembly, and we see that it's a 1 groove. So we are going to use a 1 groove servo assembly. Here's our return spring. We are going to put our new cover in it and the spacer. Let me get these things out of the way. I already have the servo bore already lubed up. Let's go ahead and lubricate our servo. Now, why do we want to put a new servo in it? If you see the lip is worn out, the apply side of the servo is here and the release side of the servo is here, so you have a lip going up and a lip going down. Let me show you that. This is a new servo assembly. You can see the lip, both lips, lip to the top and lip to the bottom, lip for the apply servo, and lip for the release side of the servo. So it is very important to replace them. Okay, so we install our servo in there. Let's lubricate this here. And this is a little tricky. I mean, I'm just gonna use this type of pliers to install it. Now on the later models, the snap ring actually has 2 little grooves like the 4R70W overdrive servo, and it's a little easier to install. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this thing in there. Okay, now our spacer, and then our snap ring. Okay, so there we have it. Servo installed. You have the apply and the release. Let me get the blowgun. Okay. So the apply hole is 1. Then you have the release on the opposite end. So whenever the transmission is shifting, it applies here and then it releases here. I would need to look at the oil flow schematics, and usually on the front side of the servo you have the direct circuit, So you have to, on a new servo, it seals both sides of the circuit. You have the 2-4 circuit, apply circuit, and on some units is the forward circuit, and so on some units is the reg circuit, the release side of the servo. So once third gear applies, it goes through here and it pushes the servo out, and then the oil flows to your direct frictions. All right, so there we have it. This is our low reverse. Let's see if I can find the little seal. No, I don't have it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and continue with our valve body. Okay, so I found the rubber tip, and we're gonna go ahead and air check this unit. This little pamphlet here comes in the kit, and this is how we're looking at the unit right now. As you see the worm tracks here, this is the filter inlet hole, and see the worm tracks here. The first hole here, it's the reverse clutch, forward clutch, direct clutch, coast clutch, and low reverse. We already air checked this one here. Let me get this closer to so you guys can see that. I don't know if that's close enough that you can read that. All right, and this is our drum assembly here. This is our other drum assembly. This is the opposite side of that drum here. So this pamphlet comes in this overhaul kit. Okay, here remember we were talking about the piston. It also explains here all the applied elements, you know, on each gear: first, second, third, fourth, manual third, manual second, and manual first. Here we have a line pressure chart. So usually there's some information that comes in the kits. Okay, so let's go ahead and air check this thing. I know, and I've noticed that whenever I air check this, and I have to pause a little bit so I can talk, because for some reason the camera mutes itself. Okay, so we already air checked this one. Let's check the other one. Let's check the other one. Let's check the other one. Very good. Low reverse. Air checks real good. Applied side of the servo 2-4. Release side. Okay, so I hope that I paused just enough that you can actually hear the clutches compressing with air. Remember, you had forward and coast on one side of the drum, so that's 2 applied elements, and then you have direct side, direct clutch on the opposite side of the drum, so that makes it a 3 clutch elements, and then we have the reverse input clutch, so that's 4 applied elements, and that's what we have here. We have 4 holes for the internals, and then we have the low reverse piston, the big piston that went inside of the case, and that's 5 applied elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and this should be a converter charge, I believe. Let's see. Converter clutch bypass. Okay, so this is actually this goes to the converter. If I blow air through that, my pump shaft is gonna fly off. All right, so there we have it. Let's go ahead and continue with the rest of the unit. Okay, so now let's talk about this valve body. Okay, here on the accumulator body here, we have 3 accumulators, and this plug here is the only one that has an O-ring. I've already put a new O-ring in it. And now we need to put our clip on it. So there we go. Here it takes a little plate with the gasket. And here's our gasket. Our plate. see that on that angle, but it's these three little bolts here. Seven millimeters. And before we continue, here in the case, we take this little baffle here, fluid dam here. Already put the new gasket in here. Stick it in the hole. This is the bracket, the hold down bracket for this. It's 8 millimeters. Okay, let's get this thing out of the way. Now we can talk about the valve body. So this is our valve body, and like I mentioned when I tore this unit down, it already has a transgo shift kit. This is a pressure relief valve. The problems with this valve body is that the bore here, it wears out, and you have a line to converter charge. Actually, two circuits, they get crossed with the line pressure. You have extremely high line pressure, and it actually blows the drum out. Now, the drum, if the drum is not blown out, you don't need to replace it. The drum is not the problem. The problem is the valve body. You need to fix your valve body, and if the drum is blown out, then you replace it. But like in this case, the drum was in good shape. It was not blown out. Just replace the bushing, and you reuse the drum. Some of you, one of you guys asked me that same question. Do I always replace the drum? No, I don't, unless it's blown out. And it blows out where the snap ring goes. And this is the root of that problem. We take care of this, and that should take care of it. Solenoid pack. Another question that you guys asked me, do I replace the solenoid pack on every single unit that we do? No, I don't. If I don't need to replace it, I don't have to replace it. It is always a good idea to put a new solenoid pack on every single unit. I mean, but that is not always the case. CD4Es, misunderstood. They change solenoid packs. They change the drum when, I mean, really you don't have to replace them. Now on some units like the 5R, 55W, and S, yeah, those solenoid packs are junk. So you have to replace them on every single rebuild, or you can try to fix them. There's actually little bushings that you can purchase, but we'll get into that later. That's a different unit. We're working on a CD4E. Okay. Shift kit's already installed, transgo shift kit. I'm gonna see if I can we can look at what needs to be done. This passage here needs to be drilled. Let me see if I can. I don't know if you can see the hole. There we go. Okay, so there we have a hole there. So we cross drill here. And there's actually a little bushing that goes in here, and it has some holes in it, and you drill two little holes, and this will escape out there. This is where, if you have excessive line pressure, it will escape through here. There's a check ball and a spring in there, and it'll escape through there as well. The spring for this valve comes in the shift kit. The spring for that valve as well comes in the shift kit, and the spring for that valve as well comes in the shift kit. Okay, well, let's go ahead and put this thing back together. And what I normally do, oh, and another thing on the separator plate, the shift kit comes with the drill bit. So you drill this hole, that one, and re-drill that one. It comes with the plug. You plug this hole, you enlarge that hole, but when you enlarge this hole, you put it on this part here, and you actually drill through all the way through that portion of valve body. So here is the hole. Okay. All right. Well, let's put this thing back together. I got 2 guide pins here that I'm going to set right there. The neat thing about this valve body is it does not have any check balls, so there's no check balls to worry about here. So I set one gasket down, then my spacer plate, then I set another gasket down, and then my main valve body. Slide it down on the guides. Then I get this bolt here. Not all models have this little bracket here, but this one does. So we're going to go ahead and put it back on there. Okay, so these 2 portions here of the valve body are aligned. Now we set the other portion of it, of this valve body. We set the plate down. This hole right here, it also gets enlarged with the drill bit that comes in the kit. Now we put the accumulator body on top of the main valve body using those 2 same guide pins. You can actually use 2 Phillips screwdrivers that are the same size as the hole. I mean, whatever works for you guys. There's 3 bolts. 1, 2, and 3. Manual valve. Now we can take the 2 guide pins out. We need to install our solenoid pack next, and then I'll get the camera away a little bit, so we'll do the installation of the valve body on the transmission. Okay, so let's go ahead and install our valve body. Here's our solenoid pack, and I already have my manual valve in here. And the wire goes through here, and it goes through that hole outside. And I'm holding the manual valve with 1 finger, and I'm going to try to latch it here and then put the bolts on. But first, we want the wiring harness connector, solenoid pack connector, to go through the case. There we go. And now we need to get our manual valve latched here. Okay, so now that we got it latched, then we can install our bolts, and we have 3 long bolts. 2 go on the solenoid pack, 1 goes here. You don't want to tighten up the bolts until you have all of the bolts installed on the valve body. Remember that we had 2 guide pins, 1 here and 1 here. We want to tighten up those 2 bolts first. And let me show you one thing on the bolts. Right below the head, it's a little bit thicker than the rest of it. On those 2, which is this one, that one, and that one, it'll self-align, or it will kind of center itself. We just want to make sure that that part of the bolt is almost on the holes. Now we can tighten up the 2 Z-bolts. I gotta do is just put the pan back on and change the seal underneath the manual lever position sensor and the shift lever seal here, and tighten up that bolt. Put our speed sensor, our filler tube, and here in the back our turbine speed sensor. I want to answer one of the questions that I don't know if somebody asked that question yet, but do I soak my clutches? Yes, I do, and I always soak them in here. But for the purpose of the videos, I don't soak them. The reason for that is because then my hands are going to get too wet, and whenever I go to press pause on the camera and then continue, I don't want to ruin my camera. So, and I'm already having issues with that camera, and if I get it contaminated with transmission fluid, then I won't have a camera. Alright, but yes, I do soak my clutches for at least 5 minutes. I mean, everybody says 10 minutes, you know, but as long as they're wet, I mean, but nothing happens. If you don't soak them, don't worry about it. Nothing happens to those frictions. It is old wives' tale, and the reason you soak them is because the transmission fluid and the friction material in the years back was different, and they had a little bit of issue on the friction materials with the fluids. But now, I mean, technology has advanced that you really isn't really not necessary, but it is recommended though. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and finish this unit, and this is where we stop right now. Click the like and subscribe to my channel. Every new videos that come up, you will be if you're subscribed, you will be one of the first to get notified that I just uploaded another video. All right, so my name is Hiram, and there we have it, CD4E 94.4 Pro. Some of you guys told me that it fits different types of vehicles that I don't even know. They're from other countries, but here we have it. Ford, Mazda, Mercury, and some other vehicles that are around the world. Thank you for watching. My name is Hiram. I'm signing off.